Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Um, Today is Wednesday, January 3rd. It's 7:04 p.m. Um, we're some of us are still on vacation mode, but we will try to make it through tonight. And we have a new member. We will introduce him in a couple minutes. So we'll start with the it's 7:04 right now, and let's call the meeting to order, and we'll do the roll call.
When you,
Present?
welcome back to local meeting. Frank Chow,
Yes, here.
Joseph Chow,
Here.
Sung Young Lee, here, Alvin Hung,
Here.
Eden Rubenstein, here, Robert Wazora,
Here.
Catherine St. Pierre, here, or Santora, thank you. Any and all of them. John Stewart
Here.
and Jocelyn Chen. Saw you there, Jocelyn.
Yes.
Here. Okay.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Happy New Year.
Okay, so since tonight is Mr. Stewart's first night, I think we want to all go around the table and introduce ourselves. Okay. No, I'll go first. I mean, you can sit down. Okay,
That's a figure of speech.
yeah. I'll go first. Okay, I'll go first. So, welcome. I'm Wendy Yu, currently the president of CEC 25. Hopefully next term, someone will take the baton and will sit in this position. I have one daughter at PS 107, close to 32. So, welcome. I'm a recurring member from last term. Next.
Eden Rubenstein. I'm the workplace president this year. This is my second term as well. I started in the middle of last year. So I did a half a term for the last 2 years, and then this is the first full 2-year term I'll be doing. And both my kids go to 193 in Whitestone.
Hi, my name is Sung Young Lee. You could call me Shirley, and I'm also a recurring member, and I have one daughter, and she has 32.
I'm Catherine Santora St. Pierre, and I have 3 children. I was just appointed in October, so I am still new and learning. And I have 2 children in 193 and 1 in 194.
My name is Joseph Chow. I have 3 kids, 1 in Thompson Parish, 2 in 79, the best elementary school. Well, who's here? Hi, good looking.
Hi,
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Oh, yes, your
Well,
first
you
time.
want-
Yeah.
I like Dee.
I know.
Anyway.
Okay.
Hey, come on, welcome back. Anyway, 2 is 79. One is in GNT, the other one is in ICT class. The GNT teacher is perhaps the best math teacher of any good teacher, according to their stats. And the ICT teacher.
Okay, let's,
Oh, wonderful.
it's supposed to be a quick meeting. Yeah.
All right, I'm almost done with my prelude, but anyway, I'm gonna.
Joe, can you start from the beginning? I just.
No.
I'm a returning member. I served 1 term. I didn't get enough, so I'm gonna, I got.
Pay back more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pay back more. I'm a retired DOE employee.
Okay,
Fortunately, or unfortunately, thank you.
okay.
Welcome aboard, by the way. We've been looking for you we're looking for some for a long time. We're very glad you finally joined us.
Yes. Alvin?
Okay, my name is Alvin Hung, and I'm a newly elected member. My daughter goes to East West International School of Studies, middle school. And this is my first term. Welcome aboard.
Kerm?
Hi, Kubram Krishit, like first time. And I'm still learning from everyone else. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend personally, physically, because of some constraint, but I'm all fit and excited. Good to see all of you. Thank you.
And Bob?
Sure. Hi, so I'm Bob Wazorek. A newly elected member as of last summer. So I am the recording secretary. I have 2 boys,
that graduated from the system in 23, and one's in a full academic scholarship in college, and one's a full academic scholarship in high school. And so this is my opportunity to get back to the system that's done so much for my family.
Okay. And now, Mr. Stewart. And
My
then-
name's John Stewart. I'm a newly appointed member. I have one daughter at PS32, to the kindergarten. So I wanted to, get involved with the education system. Now, that's us. I'm an attorney in the city, and I'm a judge advocate in the Army for the last 8 years with the reserve. I was actually so before that.
Oh. Any members have any questions for Mr. Stewart that to get to know?
Just glad to have somebody on the spot.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to, does everybody have the December minutes in front of them? We'll take 2 minutes to review the minutes. Okay, Eden make a motion to approve. Shirley second. Okay. All right. December minutes approved. So back in September or October, we made a resolution to restore our CEC budget because our previous budget was 25,000. Our annual budget was $25,000, and last term we voted to increase Carly, our administrative assistant, her salary by $9,000, and that came out from the CEC budget. And now that I think Carly's position is part of the union, we decide to ask to restore our budget to back to 25,000. Otherwise, our budget was $15,000. And on December 11th, I got an email from the Deputy Chancellor, Kanita Loy, and she had successfully advocated for our council's fund to be restored. So our annual budget is back to 25,000, which would be very helpful if we want to do any outreach activities or events this coming spring. So we will discuss, what we like to do or plan to do for the spring later on tonight, at the later agenda. Yes, we will, we'll just, yeah, when we come to, we'll allocate the money. I have an idea. So I will, I'll put it forth to the council and see what their thoughts are. So now I'll turn to our interim superintendent, Dr. Dantona, for his superintendent report.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. First, welcome to the CEC. You're very fortunate. You're with a really great group of people here that do this, not because of anything other than the best interest of the kids in District 25. So I thank all of you guys, but I certainly welcome you to this really, really great team. Aside from just being dedicated to supporting kids in this community, they're just a really great group of people, which makes it a really fortunate space for me to be able to join every month. So welcome. Just a few things that I do want to go over with you, and just to begin off this fun stuff is it's not too late to say Happy New Year and Happy Holidays to everyone. So I'm hoping that everyone had a good chance to enjoy their families and take some time to rest and relax. We were just talking a few minutes ago about how it went awfully quick. You blink these days and a couple of weeks goes by awfully fast. But just a brief message of hoping that everyone has a year filled with health and happiness for yourselves, your families, and all those members, certainly in our district community, as that's what it should really all be about. Okay, a few things, holiday celebrations. We had them all over the place in District 25, from inviting parents into classrooms, cookie decorating, spirit weeks, and so on, happening across our buildings. Always enjoy our families getting into our schools to really promote, this time of year, but also to promote learning that comes along with it. I did mention this during the last CEC, but this was really an amazing experience, certainly for me. This is the second year of the Unified Bocce League, where our children with IEPs, as well as our non-neurotypical students, were able to engage in sports. We, amongst 3 other districts, participated in this work, and it's really just an incredible experience. I am very competitive, so I did have to pick up the bocce ball. I'm not going to lie, I did pick up the bocce ball and participate myself, but it was really a great experience for myself, the team, as well as our students that were able to participate. I'd like to thank Diana Stein, who spearheads this from our team. She does an amazing job across our district work, but in particular supporting this partnership with Special Olympics New York. So kudos to all that participated, and especially our team members for helping make it happen. We did have a grand opening of a UFT Teacher Center in College Point. 25Q379 opened up its Teacher Center this just before the break. So special thanks to Ms. Sandy, interim acting principal, the former principal, and the one who opened that building was Ms. Klager. She was able to join us as well. So we had Mary Picaro from the UFT was able to join us during this special day for 379. And we do have 6 teacher centers across District 25. And the purpose of the teacher centers is really to promote professional development, not only for that school, but make it accessible for others to learn from them as well. So we do thank UFT and Teacher Center for joining us at 379 and making that happen. Project Soapbox. 'Tis the season for Project Soapbox. We have our schools engaging in this work across the district, where kids are engaging in research towards an area that they feel really passionate about, which requires them to establish a speech that gets out there into the community. We do have members of our district community that will be participating in a soapbox event where they'll be competing against other kids with similar types of ideas. What was really amazing last year, we did have a student that was able to present his case, where the chancellor was present and so on, was actually in a newspaper clipping from his idea around the flooding that we know does exist in the area. So he did an amazing job, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about our Project Soapbox speeches moving forward. But this is currently underway. We're really looking forward to hearing our kids out this year, and looking forward to doing one actually in-house as a district, where our kids get to communicate and compete against one another. District 25 and the Debate League have again partnered with one another to engage in this work across our district. So District 25 Winter Classic will begin on February 27th. So schools across the district will be participating. I'd like to thank Councilmember Palladino for sponsoring the Debate League. Once again, she sponsored it last year and sponsoring again this year. Really a great experience for our kids. And as you listen to them, really make their point and stake their claim on things that are important to them. They do it grounded in evidence, grounded in the research that they've done, really promoting that critical thinking that's necessary for our kids to be successful moving forward. So really excited about the Debate League again this year, and looking forward to hearing from our kids coming soon. So the 27th is when that'll be happening. Certainly, if our CEC members would like to participate, you're welcome to be there to listen in on our kids' basically going at it, inside of that room on a topic that means so much to them as a group. This in response to some parent feedback. Bicycle and scooter safety workshop and traffic safety workshop. We did connect with the DOT. I do encourage our families as well, and our schools. We've encouraged to make sure that they're tapping into the DOT as they offer programs for our schools to make sure that our kids and our families, unfortunately, I know sometimes we put this on our children only, but sometimes our parents are also the ones that are transporting our kids to and from, not following traffic safety either. No helmets on kids, no arm pads, elbow pads on scooters, where going through crosswalks, going through areas that are very dangerous. So this did come up during a number of my Listening to Learn tour events during the fall. So based on that, we've established this collaboration with DOT to organize a couple of events. They will be held in person, but we will also be live streaming them for any families that want to also listen in. Sometimes there are families that really need to hear these things, but are not always the ones that are present to them. So I do encourage anyone that is aware of families that would benefit from hearing these things to really tap in and listen, because far too many children wind up becoming the victims of an accident with being hit by a car.
We had an accident at 107.
Yeah.
Right before.
And, there's nothing worse, as certainly in this role, but when I was a principal, right outside of my building was a very highly trafficked area, and sometimes folks were very impatient and waiting for the buses. And I will, remember to this day where a child darted out into the street. Instead of waiting, the car chose to drive past the bus that was stopped with their stop sign and wound up clipping the young man, breaking his arm.
Oh my God.
So these types of things, it's important that we're all on the same page with what those traffic safety rules are. So needless to say, we're going to be offering these 2 workshops. I do encourage any families to participate and make themselves available. They're short experiences, they're only an hour and a half, but DOT will be there to present for us. Just preparing for remote, just so that everyone is aware, in the event that we do get, we are now into winter weather and winter weather season. In the event that we do experience winter weather, there may be an opportunity where we do pivot into a remote learning experience. So our schools did send out surveys home to families about digital learning devices, making sure that kids have engaged in a digital activity at school to make sure that they are getting into their accounts successfully, so that there are no issues in the event that we do have to have such a pivot into learning at home. And we're asked to do a short digital task at home to make sure that we are prepared and ready to go. So our schools have been working on this. This has been something that I have been really pushing on our schools to connect with our families on, so that in the event of that, we're ready to go. So I am very confident that our schools will be ready in the event that something like that does occur in the near future. Updates and reminders, fall 2024 admissions. This is something I've shared during the past several CEC meetings. These are the last ones that are coming up. Our high school and middle school application window has already come and gone. We are now into the last stretch run for kindergarten applications. Kindergarten G&T closed January 19th, and you will receive, those that apply received the offer release in March 27th. Pre-K, Wednesday, January 20th, January 10th, 3K and pre-K applications open. Friday, March 1st, applications close, and offers will be released on for pre-K, May 14th, and 3K, May 16th. Fall admissions timeline, gifted and talented upper grade admissions, Monday, April 15th, G&T upper grade application opens. Friday, May 3rd, G&T upper grade application closes. And Wednesday, June 12th is when the offers will be released. Okay, this is the stuff that I always love to talk about. Benchmarking window. Benchmarking window opened January 2nd, as in yesterday. The window extends until February the 9th. So just be mindful that this is going to be occurring over the next month or so with your kids. For reading in grades K through 2, the Acadians assessment is expected of all of our kids in District 25. iReady for all children in grades 3 through 8 will be administered. In mathematics, iReady will be administered across grades K through 8, with the exception to children that are taking the Algebra 1 Regents. Algebra 1 Regent students are expected to take the MAP Algebra 1 assessment because that is more aligned to the Algebra 1 assessment than the iReady grade 8 assessment is. So that's kind of the backdrop of those assessments. So please be on the lookout, and I'm going to talk to you about a few things that are important to me when it comes to that. So why are these assessments important? So for you guys as parents and advocates within for the district community and certainly within your schools, important that parents understand that they need to be asking about these assessments. They need to know what it is that these assessments are assessing and how they can be supportive of the progress checks that are needed for our kids. So these assessments are normed. Acadian's assessment is a normed assessment, as well as iReady is a normed assessment nationally, where we're getting data back that is giving us reliable information back. Now, are there times where kids very well may rush through it and it's not as reliable? Perhaps. But in large part, we're getting back information that is important for us to know so that we are making good next steps for our schools as the midpoint of the year is coming up, which is hard to believe. Midpoint is coming up, folks. So how do we use these assessments? This is just an example from our district DCEP. So we set benchmark targets for the school year, much like our schools do. For you guys as parent leaders, what are those benchmarks that we're establishing? Certainly at the district level. When we come into February, I will have data for all of you guys to see in terms of how we performed in terms of meeting those benchmark targets. If we haven't met them, what are we going to do next? If we have met them, what are we going to do to extend beyond that space? But every single school should be engaging in this benchmarking window in terms of, are we meeting our progress targets? Are we not? And for us as parents, it's important that we're checking in on that. That it's not just, okay, here's where we are and that's fine. It's always about pushing ourselves to go to do even better than we are today. So this is something that I'm encouraging all of you guys to pay attention to. This will be discussed during our district SLT training that's going to be happening next week on January 10th. There will be an SLT training for any of you that are also on your SLT. Part of the conversation is around progress monitoring. So I will be doing a little bit of a piece for all of our school leadership team members around progress monitoring so that everyone's on the same page with what we should be looking at and for during this time. So what should parents be doing during this window? One, be aware of how your child performed on the diagnostic and the progress that he or she has made. Be aware of your child's strengths and areas that they need to improve. And this is the most important part for me, working collaboratively with your teacher, with your child's teacher to make sure that there is a plan of action for what's next. So if your child is struggling, okay, what is it that we're going to do between home and school to support our kids to meet their fullest potential? And the same for children that are doing really, really well and exceeding standards. What are those other things that we want to be paying attention to as a parent and as a school to continue to foster that growth over time? Now, when do these things happen? I encourage you to tap into parent engagement time. It's there for a reason. Let's make sure that as parents, you're connecting with your school's teacher to tap into, how did my child do? Where are they in terms of progress towards grade level standards? And what is the struggle, if there is one? And how do we move beyond it? Okay. Parent feedback survey. So within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be sending a survey out to all parents based on our DCEP goal around promoting more parent involvement in schools. What I shared during our last CEC meeting, I'm super excited about. More and more events are going on in every single one of our schools that's promoting not only this idea of training within our new programs, but our parents are given an opportunity to actually see it happen through things like First Fridays, Welcoming Wednesdays, parents as partners. Some did open school weeks where parents were able to come in and see what's going on in their classrooms. Some have done something called Parent University, where it's very similar, where they're connecting in that way. So these types of events are happening across our schools. What I want to know is how many of our parents are actually taking advantage of it. Have they actually been exposed to that type of scenario? And more importantly for me, what are some other things that we need to be considering? Because if nothing else, as this year has gone on, I'm hoping that you've seen happen is that what is shared with me, we wind up taking note of and adding to our work. So we wanted more special education training, more special education training happened. We want more parent outreach in terms of traffic safety. We do more parent outreach for traffic safety. We wanted more New York City Reads events. We did more New York City Reads events. So we are going to listen based on what it is that you guys hear. Say with me, so that our team can organize accordingly. So be on the lookout for that in the very near future. And I think that was my last slide. Is that true? Yes, that's my last slide. Yeah. And that concludes my presentation for today.
Thank you, Dr. Dantona.
You're welcome.
Because I'm coffee.
Oh.
How about a parent survey, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my principal used to say this. There are 4 choices. Number 3 and number 4 are like 20 points, 25 points apart. So if you can give the top score, don't give the second. Am I making any sense?
No.
Of the school. Oh, come on.
I don't know what you meant by that.
The other word, let's say highly effective.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
Ranges
say
is what you
effective,
meant.
you might as well choose highly effective because the treatment is so great. That will help the school a lot if you choose the other.
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, that's the school survey. This one is for me. The one that I'm talking about is for me. This is not a city. This
He's
is
like,
not a,
"Find that."
so you can put whatever it is that you want, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So this one is not, this is a district centric one. And listen, surveys in general, do not tell you the whole story. They tell you something. The something is intended to allow us to start digging deeper, to ask further questions around what else do we need to do? Not that it's going to give you the fullest of pictures. It's intended to give you a snapshot of information to ask deeper questions, which is what I like to do with everyone as a community, so that we learn more from one another. That growing together as one community is something that I am very big on and want to continue to push moving forward.
May I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So how are you planning to send this parent feedback survey? I mean, will you be sending directly to the parents, and will you be encouraging each school's PTA to participate in it so that they can, I think
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did ask for feedback from President's Council. So I'll be meeting with them again real soon, just to make sure that the survey is copacetic, anything else that anyone wants to add to that. But we're fortunate now with the city system that we can send out mass emails to every single parent in District 25 that I don't necessarily need to go to a school to do. I can do it myself. And it's just that quick click of a button, and I can send the survey out with a little message from Dr. Mike. Can you please make sure that you fill out the survey for us, and then everyone gets it. So we're fortunate in that respect that we can do that now. Yeah.
Since I missed a few meetings, I have all these questions. Just one more question. So regarding the assessment, right? You mentioned I am in a PTA meeting, and one of the principal mentioned that, I mean, it's a generalization, right? Every 5 years, you seem to change curriculums, right? And I'm assuming that's for good, right? Because you come up with better things to students, and you come up with those things, and those data that like by that time, I'm talking about a month ago, was already one time assessed. So like they were comparing their score, that school's score, compared to the average, up, down, and all these things. So some classes did really well, some classes did really bad, right? So I understand it's a new thing. Even my daughter, like she loves it, she does good. Sometimes she doesn't do good, could be the new system and everything. So the question I'm asking is, and I always ask, gifted and talented schools, they are gifted because most of the kids that come there, right, are already better, like the parents take that extra initiative to get their children into a good school. So my question is, in those schools, there are some kids who doesn't do good in the beginning, right? And some kids, they do like above average, that's like a disruption of the graph, right? So are you taking a look at that how that, like you said, parent engagement, so it's parents duty responsibility and as well as the school's responsibility to say, hey, your kid did, let's say 60 here. Next, it's 55, next is 70. It's not getting up, but some kids, they're doing 90 from the beginning and it's 90 straight, So I feel like this is something my older one who goes to Columbia now went to Stuyvesant had the same issue, like she was in a class where everyone knew everything in advance and we are like, what? So my request to you is keep an eye on that thing, right? Are we pulling those kids who are slacking? So this, I know you are a data guy, that's how I came to know you, that you digest your data so much, right? So please.
Oh, as long as it doesn't come up on me, I'm good. I'm good with the,
Yes,
yeah, so,
it's just a
so,
request
yeah.
to see those kids who are like slacking. Are we doing anything to keep them up?
so
right?
so just a couple of things. The idea of, just in terms of language, I think language is important. It's not necessarily that kids are slacking. It's, the way that I look at everything is current reality. Here is the current reality for this child. Whether that child is doing extremely well in terms of performance or the child is struggling. It's on us as a community, as a district community, to make sure that we're supporting kids at whatever level that is. So where that comes to in connection with families is, it helps when a parent is fully connected to understanding that, you know what, my child is here. This is what my child is struggling with. And this is what I can do to help support. It doesn't mean that excludes the school from responsibility. It just works better when we're working in combination with one another than separate and apart. And listen, I have two kids, both of them, you couldn't get more different in the way that they attack things. Emily, very focused, and we'll get her tasks done. Matthew, a little bit different in terms of how he goes about his business. Now he'll get it done, but it's in Matthew's time and space. So it's different between my two kids, and it's also going to be different amongst children in the same class, even in a G&T. So those experiences are going to be what they are for each individual kid. It's upon us to make sure that we pull out the best in all of them. So that's what I would say to that.
Meet them where they are.
Sorry. I just wanted, since we're on the subject of assessments, I've noticed that district-wide and beyond the district even, that there's been a large push to digitize most testing, not just like within the classroom for regular ELA assessment, regular math assessment. A lot of that is becoming digital. And even the state exams at the end of the year are now turning to a digital format. It's going to get pushed, down the grades and the digital testing, that format, it doesn't always reflect what the kids know very accurately. It requires them sometimes to hold a lot more information in their heads than it does when it's like on the paper. I understand how it is kind of great for like more immediate data collection, but if it's not fully getting the most accurate picture of what these kids know, is there a way that we can maybe still use paper in place when necessary? Or, we even saw this in the fall when there was the big not state testing, but for the tax exams for the Catholic high schools. The site kept crashing. Kids couldn't finish their exams on time. Going online and going digital isn't always the best.
So those things haven't necessarily been an issue in terms of test completion. I do think it's an adjustment, certainly for us as adults. Kids tend to to manage pretty well within them. So where the biggest adjustment is certainly with our youngest ones, because they have to learn all of the ins and outs of using the assessment tools. But they do grow with it. They do grow with it pretty quickly. And the computer-based testing is going to be an expectation statewide. So that is, yeah, that's not going to be an option for our kids in terms of standardized types of tests that we're going to be administered. That doesn't mean that putting a pen to paper should be obsolete either. So our kids are not going to only be exposed to assessments that are on a computer. There are other assessments that do happen during the day that teachers are capturing in student writing, in student work products. There are assessments that are happening all the time. So when you're thinking about it in terms of the formalized assessments being digital, it's different from the other assessments that kids are experiencing all the time when they are using pen to paper.
Sure, it is different,
Yeah.
but part of what is concerning, especially in the 5th grade and in the 4th grade, is that these state tests are they could be whether or not these kids get into the screened classes, into the honors classes and stuff, and if these state scores aren't accurately reflecting what they know, and it's.
So I don't know that there has not been any kind of research that indicates that data coming back has been skewed one way or the other, where student performance has declined as a result. In the city, performance actually wound up increasing this past year. Whether or not I can tell you that it was because of all the kids that were taking a computer-based versus non-computer-based is a different story. But in order to do this computer-based testing, they went through a series of pilot testing for kids to make sure that there was this readiness for implementation across schools. So I don't know that there's evidence that indicates that kids performed at a lower rate because of computer-based testing as compared to using pencil paper.
So holding all of that information in their heads, going back in the texts and.
They would have to do that paper and pencil too.
And they could.
Are they allowed to scratch paper?
Yeah, are they allowed to use scratch paper?
I
have to
yeah.
do that.
I feel like you can, you're gonna automatically need to.
Because I remember that was always the case when I.
So the only thing with whether they're going from, a paper to turn back and forth with paper, they have a little arrow that says go back and forth on the computer. It doesn't lock them from being able to go back to the text. In fact, most questions that kids are being exposed to and asked require text evidence. So they have to go back into the text in order to do that.
Yeah, for the
So,
reading part, I know.
For any of the reading part, yeah. They have to go back and forth into the text.
For instance, like.
And I would just add on a professional basis, all FINRA licenses, so if you want to do anything in the securities industry, those are all digital tests. All sorts of professional accreditations, like I have a chartered financial analyst, that's an online, it's a digital test now. I mean, it's just the way it is. When I took it, it was paper, but it's not anymore. And in fact, they're doing away with short answer questions because they're too hard to grade, they're too subjective.
And that's not to say that there shouldn't be ways that we also assess kids, not just only on a computer. But for the standardized ones, they're certainly going to be that way. Things like iReady, it's going to be that way. It's just more efficient in terms of gathering information on children in a way where that information is usable and accessible as soon as they hit submit. Versus now having to go through the process of gathering all the papers, scoring, uploading, inputting, doing a diagnostic analysis. All of that stuff is already done and prepared comparatively to not doing it that way. So there are, I'm not saying that there's what you're saying is not correct. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Melinda. But that's just currently the state that we are in terms of assessments. So preparing kids for it is better than not.
Yeah, I know that the one thing that I've run into specifically, is that the teacher actually is the one that recommended to me for my son certain tests to give him on paper to see if there is a difference, because he does struggle with that online platform type learning. So there's certain teachers that are willing to do it
Mhm.
and take the time, that little bit of extra time. If it's like one off here, there for certain kids, I've noticed.
But it doesn't change the idea that kids need the exposure to learn how to use things digitally, because that's what they're gonna be expected to do. One way, shape, or form. There is not gonna necessarily be the option for kids to say, I'm going to do this assessment on paper, because that's the option that I prefer. The digital assessment is gonna be the digital assessment. So absent them having that experience, they will likely struggle on a day when it's an assessment like that without exposure. So I hear you, but it's gonna be, it's what is now in front of our kids.
I know it's some of the schools that I visited, the computer labs are drilling the kids ahead of time because, like you suggest, I mean, if I look at this for the first time, I have no idea what I'm looking at. But if I'm familiar with the interface and I know how to change pages, I know how to go back, I know how to go to check answers, then it lowers that anxiety. So, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly, you need to prepare before you see that interface. Because if you're seeing a code for the first time, that's going to be daunting in and of itself, regardless of what the content is.
And I know a lot of their assessments have been digital assessments throughout the year, HMH, right?
Yep.
That's and the Mira and all,
Mhm.
that is all digitally based. It's been a learning curve for my fourth grader. My sixth grader, he is just going with it. But for my kindergartner, it's been discouraging for her.
Mm.
She really does need to hear the information like restated and stated like for how, like what is being asked of her. She needs it presented to her in a different way that the digital, whoever's speaking to her digitally.
Yeah, and listen, I think those are conversations definitely to have with your classroom teacher.
Yeah.
To help organize around. Absolutely. The reality is we want our kids to do really, really well, whether it's digital or paper, or they have a specific need. It's how do we communicate with the teacher to make sure that kids are in the best place, the most comfortable place possible. But knowing that that's the direction that everything is in fact headed. It is in fact headed that way,
So I know Venus has a comment. Yeah. So Venus will have the last comment and then we need to move on.
Because I 100% agree with her. My son is in the 12th grade, but children with ADHD have an issue. So I think what she's asking, because you're not able to synthesize it, as a district and as a district leader, are you open to being in possibly, I know you're open to being a leader, but having specified training for specific students who may struggle with that? Because it's not about showing them the interface. It's about teaching children how to read online, especially children with ADHD, teaching them how to press the keys with papers. Those are test-taking strategies that we all learn how to take the SAT as a district, not just school by school, but district-wide in preparation for the state exam. Can we create some type of a handbook for parents and child, maybe some workshops for parents and child? Because what I have suggested in other districts is that parents sit beside their child and watch them take an online test.
Yeah.
It does not do that each child by each child, and they can't really identify which child. We did the assessments today, the iReady, and we have a small class of only 5 students, so we can see. We already know that student took 6 minutes last time, and we can prep, but every student in general education is not getting that support, and the parents are not getting that feedback. They're getting the test results. They're not really knowing.
So
This part, they just get.
So every student is timed on, especially in the iReady assessments, every student's timed on it. And there are flags that come up for any kid that either rush through it, so they're yellow or red flags. Red flags means that they clicked C. Okay, good. Yellow, a little bit less so, and then absent that, it's that they took an adequate amount of time. In terms of support, one of the reasons why I talk about the idea of, knowing what's going on with the assessment. If you don't know what's happening with your child, then you won't be able to even ask that question. Venus. So it's about being able to communicate with your child's teacher around what it is that you're seeing yourself, and then connect with them as well. Aside from the fact that in the beginning of the year, especially for our little ones, it was not just, okay, open the computer and get going.
Mhm.
It was, we're going to help you organize around it so that our kids feel more comfortable.
Maybe a mock day with parents so that they can sit side by side and kind of see, like, some kids need to go to the bathroom, or some kids, like, for example, and I'll just give you an example, we were giving the test and I was in the room, and one kid is very distracted by my voice, and we literally had to say, get up out of your seat and go sit somewhere else, and that made a huge difference, but again, the parent is not really seeing the dynamic of the administration of a class from the results, so it really had, they could be a district-wide mock day, district-wide mock day. Even you presenting the actual test to us and us, doing it.
Oh,
for
certainly, we
ourselves.
can always engage you guys. Well, I don't know if I want to test you guys, but, I don't know if I want to test you guys, but, we can certainly engage in those types of things.
It's very hard to log into that. You gotta hold up your badge, then you have to click that person that goes through the instructions, and anybody with ADHD is not gonna sit through those instructions. So their brain might already be checked out, and like you said, with the MTSS, like, these state exams, which are gonna determine what middle school and high school they go into, there may be a targeted group of kids like my son, who I rushed for him to take the last handwritten SAT, because now the SATs are gonna be older different, and he would be a disaster, as in the 12th grade, click, 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 after 5 minutes, he's done.
Yeah, and I think no different from, and one of the things that I'm happy about in terms of the HMH assessment platform is that exposure is happening from the beginning of the school year all the way through the year. That's not a one-time thing. So when you're thinking about the idea of our kids being prepared for, and again, not everything's about how they perform on the state assessment. We want to prepare our kids to be successful moving forward. It's not always indicative of how they perform on a state test. Yes, it does help support in terms of school moving forward, yes. But we also want to make sure that they're a success, and that stuff begins with the assessments they're being exposed to right now. So they're seeing those same types of measures right from the very beginning of the year. That's not just an iReady thing. That's the types of questions that they're going to see on a state exam are mirrored in many respects to what they're going to see on an HMH assessment that they take every 3 weeks. So that is not something that they're not exposed to throughout the entire year. But when it comes to workshops, things like that, those are never a problem here in District 25 to make sure that families know what's going on. We can certainly organize around that for sure. But when it comes to preparing kids, 100%, that's one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing, and getting kids access to using those assessments in the way that they are. But that's not saying that it doesn't, that kids might not need additional support inside of taking them that way. Absolutely.
Thank you,
And
Venus.
Dr. Mike, I don't know if you said this, but we can arrange for the CEC to have, either Barbara or Tracy come and present on the state test. And more importantly, with experience from what they've experienced this past few years with schools piloting it and how successful it's been.
Yeah, from computer-based testing, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, computer-based testing, right?
Okay.
Yep, many of our schools engaged in this work last year in terms of the entire school testing. Aside from those that had to do it for a specific grade. So from the schools, they kind of talked about the success in doing so. But yeah, we can absolutely have Barbara come.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
That's from the lens of state tests, but in terms of things like iReady and the like, we can also talk about, doing demonstrations with you guys too. That's fine.
Oh, okay, that'd be great. I think it would put a lot of parents at ease, right, and understand the interface of iReady and the assessment better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, we'll talk
100%.
afterwards. Okay, moving on. So tonight we need to vote on the capital improvement request. Last month, we had Mr. Ben Goodman from SCA to give us a presentation and to go over the requests from the schools in our district. And tonight we have the pleasure of having Mr. Leroy Williams from Facilities. Bill Leroy from Facility to answer questions that we as the council may have, because we have a lot of requests with regard to bathroom repairs and upgrades, and SCA had told us that, that is a facility issue, and I think the reply we got that now it's back with SCA, so we are
Yeah, I think-
confused as to, what is, what kind of bathroom project is responsible, is SCA responsible for, and which, bathroom project is facilities responsible for. So, Ms. Bill, if you don't
Sure.
mind, kind of give us some, your
Sure.
feedback.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I guess the best way to explain it is the SCA is responsible for full renovations.
Yeah.
What we do basically, I'm with the Division of School Facilities. We heat the building, maintain boilers, maintain bathroom fixtures, sinks, things like that. If you have a broken faucet, the custodial staff is responsible for repairs. We also have some trades people. We have some carpenters, we have some plumbers, not as many as we would like, but we do have trades that, glaziers that fix windows. So we do basically day-to-day maintenance as opposed to the school construction authority, which does from the ground up. So if there's a faucet broken in the bathroom, that's our responsibility. We try and address those as quickly as we can. Sometimes if there's two sinks in the bathroom and one isn't working, we might not get to that for, a week or two, because we're somewhere else working on emergencies, or if there's only one sink, we would put that as a priority. So I hope that explains what we do versus what the school construction authority does.
Yeah.
But if you have any specifics, I've been to these meetings in the past, and people have said, well, over at Q32, this faucet's been broken for 2 weeks. Well, if we don't know about it, we can't really fix it. The custodial staff should, they should do daily walkthroughs and identify these things. But, we get to them as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, we don't have unlimited staff. Again, we wish we had more, but that's basically what we do. There's a lot of life safety issues also that the school custodian and the fire person and the cleaners work behind the scenes. There's multiple checklists that they do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis. And again, they heat the building, they clean the building. And that's pretty much the extent of what we do. So if you have any questions, please feel free.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So you mentioned, so if there's an issue with classrooms being too many classrooms on like a specific circuit, something like that, is that something that's going to fall then into facilities because of the electrical aspect,
Yes.
or is that something that goes back to SCI?
Yes, if there are too many, again, so take a building like Q32, it only has a certain amount of power coming in. As we get more and more technology involved and smart boards and other equipment, computers, you obviously need more power brought into that building. So if it's an outlet that needs to be installed, yes, that would be us. If it's a full phase electrical upgrade, that would be the SCA. And also the principals have the ability to request those items out of their own budgets. We would do an outlet. If the principal came to me and said, we're losing every time we plug in the smart board, we're blowing a circuit, then that would be us to go in there and identify the problem and correct it. If the principal said, I want 5 new outlets because we're building it into a computer room, we would hope that the principal would have funding for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bob?
Bill, just a couple questions. So I'm reading through some of the requests that we got, just going back to the bathroom thing.
Sure.
And it's basically all or some version of upgrade, renovate, refurbish, which to me sounds like putting in a new bathroom, not fixing a faucet or something.
Correct.
And some are defined as certain floors, the girls' bathroom, again, different locations in the old wing, but they sound like full bathroom renovations to me.
Yeah, again, I'm in these buildings every day. A lot of the bathrooms are dated. Again, the sink works, but it looks like it's been there for 30, 40 years.
Because it has.
I wish we did more bathroom upgrades I wish we did more bathroom upgrades, as I'm sure you do too. But that really falls on the SCA. You have your ADA issues when you start replacing bathrooms. Generally, you have to do the entire bathroom, when you're doing, because you need to get it to ADA, levels.
Right.
But generally, full bathroom upgrades is the SCA.
Great. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Kerm?
Hi, good evening, Bill. How are you?
Good. How are you?
So thanks for clarifying that. So I have a quick question. In one of the school, the kids are eating lunch and then the lighting is so inefficient. I mean, it's so low that early in the morning, especially winter time, they don't actually get to see what they're eating, kind of thing. So parents are so mad that
You sold about $4.99, Bill.
Is it for so?
No,
the
let me
caf-
finish.
I don't know of an upgrade in the cafeteria, but I do
It's not
know.
upgrade there. It's very simple thing is, and it should be, if it's a big issue, it should not be a big issue because they should have enough light, that creates, like, there are certain state legal standard, right?
Mhm.
So we are trying to avoid, one of these parent might, hey, go take actions, right? Then it will become urgent. Why we let that to be happen and get a bad reputation for ourselves, right? So, like, simple things, like if they need lightings because the building is 10 years and then there is no lighting change, they're not requesting, some major renovation, and the classification was so well done by you and the other gentleman that, this is the school construction, this is facility, right? So as per the principal, she requested, and she spoke with this gentleman so many times with with no with no outcome. So we are like if it's urgent, it should not be delayed so much that it becomes something not a good experience. So who should they go to for just lighting, and also
Well,
outside? Yeah.
we do have an energy efficiency group as well. So they will come to me annually and ask me what buildings I think could use lighting upgrades. We do. You should know that we are working currently on 499, not the cafeteria. I don't believe the cafeteria. I never heard the cafeteria lighting was insufficient, but the lobbies on all the floors, that's in the works. The exterior lighting as well. We take that seriously. Exterior lighting on all
Bill, you're the
buildings.
best, you know that?
So I'm not sure about the cafeteria, but I'll certainly look into it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I mean,
And
is it a matter of just some lights out?
yeah,
'Cause,
just lights,
we,
and they actually have a parent who is actually physics professor and an engineer. So he literally came with, all the laws and lights and, scales to measure everything. So, it would be nice if you give me your email address so maybe we can have a formal chat, hi, hello, so that you get an idea about
absolutely.
yeah. But good to hear that you already started working on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the cafeteria, but
Yeah, so
definitely the lobbies.
you did start on the lobby and all the floors lighting, right?
Yes, we had a contractor investigate the lighting in the lobbies, and I'm not sure exactly where they are, but they did survey it. So I'm not sure if they came back with a proposal yet, but I can certainly find out for you. My
Thank you so
email
much.
address is W Leroy, LEROY, at schools.nyc.gov.
Okay.
All
Anyone
right.
else?
Thank you so much. That was so
You're
kind
welcome.
of you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Anyone else have any questions for Bill? So that now since we already went through these requests last month and, we were all told to go over them during between last meeting and this meeting. Like, I want each member to, recommend their 3 top priority that they feel is urgent, okay? You could give us all 3 of your choices, or if you don't have 3, you could just give 1 or 2. And then, we could vote on them. All right, is that fair? Okay, so I only have 1. The electrical upgrade at 120. Okay,
Just 21 auditorium.
okay, wait, so hold on, Carly didn't write this down. So, Bill, are you still on?
I am.
Okay, so PS 120, their request is electrical upgrade to 5 classrooms, 3 classroom on the 3rd floor and two rooms on the 2nd floor. Because the breakers keep overloading and breaking, and the principal has suggested that they need separate lines for each room. So now, is this,
I can check in with Mr. Marino and see exactly what he needs. I'm not certain that it would be something that DSF facilities would take care of, but it sounds like it would be. If he keeps, again, if circuits keep going out, then we need to address that.
yeah,
The only thing is you need to realize that, again, if it's a simple, if there are circuits available in the electrical panels, then we can handle that. If it's an upgrade to the entire building, then that would be the SCA and Con Ed. I don't know the extent of this, but I could look into it for you.
because,
I think that, yeah, that's kind of what, the one that Wendy's mentioning is just like the feeling of being torn, is it facilities or an SEA type issue, and I think that's where we come back to, like, a lot, which is why we asked the questions we asked you tonight. But if
Sure.
it's 5 classrooms, I feel like, sounds like it's more facility.
I don't know.
I see a lot of auditorium upgrades coming through.
Yeah.
I heard somebody mention that.
Yeah, I mentioned that PS 21 and Elvin and Catherine, we visited that school and they utilize their auditoriums a lot. And a couple of seats, it's been very old because I graduated PS 21. It's the same chair that I sat down. It's like 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And they put the yellow paints around, and it looks pretty dangerous too because the pieces of metal were sticking out, and there's a lot of children going use.
All right, that shouldn't happen. That's something that the custodial staff needs to repair. They can't be. I'll look into that. I don't know if 21 was on the list of the auditorium upgrades. I hope so, 'cause I know what you're talking about. But I'll look into that.
So Carol, your PS 21 auditorium upgrade, how do your 120 electrical upgrade?
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I also have one, PS 120, it's the electrical upgrade.
You just pulled out.
Construction.
I'm sorry, what school?
But when they just
PS
called out.
120.
When they just called out.
No, but he could also, if he feels that that's his top priority, yeah, he could, okay. No, you could you could choose up to 3.
Yes.
They all need everything they say they need here. So I agree with Shirley on PS 21, but I feel pretty strongly about the bathrooms in 1 and 2.
Okay,
So you want 21 and one,
yeah.
which order?
You're gonna hold it or are you gonna let it go?
No, 21 and 190.
I did not.
Get the coin out, Catherine, get the coin out.
I just put it right.
Catherine, can you add mine? 199?
For PS21, the auditorium upgrade, and 193, the bathroom.
And the bathroom.
I'm gonna piggyback off of 21, 193, and then my other one is 32. It has to do with the playground.
See, with playground, from what we got it from last month from Mr. Goodman, principal have to write grants to yeah,
Request for rental.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
But yeah, so if we couldn't do that, the other one that I was looking at is this Parsons Educational Complex, where it's 250, 255 and 252 all in one.
Right? Can I also, what is that one?
It's auditorium, cafeteria, gym, all bucketed into one proposal.
For the upgrade?
Yeah.
Can I also prevent on PS32? So where's my upgrade? I
but
know,
we
I know
can't
it's,
put-
I know, but. Why? Cause I know how much they use that playground and it's run around there too, that's why.
okay, Bob,
Yeah, so I wanted, to support the elementary school 169 and the middle school, Bell Academy 294 for their bathroom upgrade requests.
Both bathroom upgrades?
There,
They
it's,
bucketed
it's,
it
there,
together.
there are two schools sharing one building, and so they asked
Oh.
for, bathrooms on the first, second, and third floors.
Okay.
okay,
And then, my second one would be the, PS21 auditorium as well.
okay.
I've seen the hazard tape around the seats.
Okay,
So, ES 193. And also 499.
199, you're referencing the
Auditorium,
cafeteria?
cafeteria and the auditorium.
okay. Mr. Stewart,
Lighting also.
Excuse me, I would say PS 24, the bathroom upgrade. That seems to be a concern, at least at my daughter's school too, so,
32,
20, yeah,
32 or 24?
no,
24.
24.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
Seems
gave
like that's
specific room numbers.
universal. Then College Point Collaborative, surveillance cameras and doors, I mean, I wasn't here last time, so I don't know if that's not, part of SCA, but that seems.
379?
So it is, yeah.
well, with the surveillance, because all the schools are getting,
Eventually looking at.
eventually getting the surveillance upgrades.
Yeah, so is that something that's gonna be taken care of anyway?
Yeah.
But if there's a door, I mean, security is a pretty big issue, right, so, if there's a door that needs to be there, that's important.
I think we got it, I think in the email, it says that the door is being,
So the door is a little bit different from
yeah,
so remember schools that do have the cameras, they have them beyond the space of just the front door. So they'll have them throughout the building, they'll have them strategically placed,
Yeah.
in certain stairwells or, and things of that nature. So whether or not that particular, the door lock component is the
But
same.
well, the
Or they have
email we
more of
got
a- yeah.
back was the door replacements in progress with SCA
Yeah.
already. Okay,
So take off 371 or we keep second?
Well, if it's something already in place, then I guess they won't get to do it, but.
okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's for the door, but not necessarily if they're talking about cameras around the building, I think those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
The one is making sure that they have access to the, oh my goodness, why am I forgetting the name of the, the actual project for the doors? But that's for the entry part of it, not necessarily the ones that they'll find inside of stairwells and things like that, right?
Alvin?
So, I'm gonna put my first priority onto, PS21 with the auditorium. And I do have a second choice.
Yeah.
And that would be for, 250. I haven't really assessed, having a tour yet with them, but I would put that as my second priority as of right now.
Well,
Until I can get like,
I will say, my son used to go to the auditorium. It does need it. And the bathroom, they need enough space.
So it's weird because 250 put in a request, but then
252
252 put it in bucketing all three.
They use the same.
So they use
Shared
space. So I think
space.
it's like, yeah, so it's kind
The
of.
shared space, they're
yeah,
co-located
almost.
schools.
Okay. And
Cafeteria or-
252 is the 6 to 12, and 250 is our district school, that, yeah.
So 250.
and then Frank,
Yes, I would say 120 and Bay Terrace and Bell.
okay,
So Great Terrace, that's the bathroom upgrade, 169 and 284.
Yes, that's the background.
yeah.
Yep.
Does Jocelyn get to vote? Oh, okay. All right. So you want me to read off what I got? So we could, yeah, check it off. So PS 21, we have Shirley, Catherine, Bob, and Alvin. Is that what you have?
Yes.
Okay. PS 120, me, Joseph, and Frank. 193, Catherine, Eden, Curone.
What's the one?
193.
193. Okay. 250/252, Eden and Alvin. Bell Academy, Bob and Frank. 499, Kiram. 24, John. 32, Shirley and John. Okay,
How many did you have?
I had 32 and.
for 20,
Also.
How many people voted for someone?
I have 4.
Four, okay. All right.
32 was one of the ones I had.
Okay,
So
so we just need the 5. Make
PS
sense.
21 has 4, together being on last.
Yeah,
193 also has 4, and PS 120 has 3.
uh-huh,
So that's the top, I would say that's the
the
top.
top 3,
right?
uh-huh,
And then we got IS 250, 169, and PS 32 votes each. And then 199 and 24.
yeah.
Four ninety-nine has two.
I'm sorry. Can I add one more? PS 21?
Oh, okay. So
Thank
20
you. Sorry.
Frank.
What did you get? Who else was 499?
Eden?
Did you say,
No, I didn't.
That wasn't on the list.
Yeah.
That wasn't on my list.
Oh, you didn't say it?
Keep on in.
He told us a lot of it's going on with facilities right now, so that's why.
All right, so you got 5 for PS 21.
yeah, so we'll put 21,
3 and PS 123. So do you want it in that order?
yeah,
21,
21.
120?
21, 193, 120, what was, did you have a 4th one?
So you gotta break the
And
tie.
there's
250, 169 and 32 all have 2.
Yeah,
32, actually, the three of us, I had said 32 also.
You did?
Yeah.
yeah. We would put 32 like on the, as the 4th recommendation because that's probably not gonna be done. We can honestly, like for playground. If you, oh, we wanna put down number 5?
Choices.
Since I'll go for 250, because since I only made one recommendation.
So,
I'm sorry, did you say 250?
yeah,
Yeah,
For what, the auditorium?
That's a part of it, it looks like, and
Because
then.
that's in design. It's approved for an auditorium.
okay.
It's the auditorium, cafeteria, and gym that's kind of combined with it.
Yeah, they could use an auditorium, they could use a gym and a cafeteria, but the auditorium is in progress.
auditorium's in progress.
So do you wanna, go down to 169 now? 250 already has it.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking you that. What do you think?
I'm okay with
69
that.
is 2 schools in one.
Yeah.
so-
Not to make it less than.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's just, yeah, it's
Yeah.
benefiting.
So this, so let's just repeat our top 5 choices. PS 21, PS 193, PS 120, PS 32, and Bell Academy 169 and 290. Does anyone have any objections? No? Anyone? Okay. So Carly will fill in the request form. Okay, thank you, Carly. All right. So now we can move on to the budget allocation. So I.
So that is this amount, we're at 25, right?
So who's our treasurer this year? Mr. Chow, okay.
Our best, name is over here. Our best.
Okay. So how much do we need to allocate? Like
$9,024.
$9,024, $9,000,
That's 25,000 and you got 50.
$9,025.
I mean,
So in this part of this because we talked about doing an event at Queen Zoo this spring, and that would cost approximately 5,000.
And I actually sent the email to Tom, I'm waiting, I asked
Queen
him
Zoo?
for,
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
I asked him for dates for March, I'll wait for a response.
Okay, so we need to put that would be a new line item.
No,
No?
Other events, what event?
so, I need to-
Oh,
so that's kind of why
the events?
no, this is kind of why I did it how I did it. I can't spend more than $250 on a P card at a time. So this in itself is already like, that's pretty much what I can do. Here it doesn't make any sense because I would have to take from here to pay. So where they would take it from would be here or here. And
Oh,
then
but then with the restore,
this is what I'm saying.
That's where that nine.
Any event that we do comes from
Oh.
these two items, these two lines. This is like, this member reimbursement is like my savings. Anytime that I need to put something, I put it, I can move
Mhm.
accordingly to here. This, I'm not gonna ever spend more than that, 'cause I'm not allowed to. So there's no purpose in me putting more money in here. The supply line in here, this is where I would be able to negotiate where they can take the money from.
So it really should kind of be bucketed between those
Which is
two.
why I said
Oh.
split it. And then come March, which is around the deadline that you would have to be able to, but shift your budget again. If you need to add or support take, you can do it from these two.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
I must have your paper.
Okay.
So that would be like 45 to 12 each one, if you divide it by two.
Carly was thinking of you. She gave you an even number for Joe.
Yeah.
I'm the field instructor. She's a real. So I thought you were a math teacher.
You don't know, he's not feeling good.
So if we put it, the extra 4,500 change or whatever, to each of those, where
Okay.
space it looks like.
Okay. So we'll do,
Because if they take it from the supply line, you already have enough to pay for because it would be 5,000 for the vehicle,
okay.
right? You would have enough, you already have.
And then we'd still have left
So
over
you're
towards the end
set-
of the year stuff with the supply stuff.
So you're suggesting to do 45, 45, and 3 and 4,
If-
okay.
Yeah, the last two
The
lines.
lines, three and
Supply
four,
line
okay.
and then-
So it doesn't matter what we do with the money. Okay, so we could do any,
I
okay.
need to
Need
be
to
able
allocate,
lines to
okay.
be- so that
All right, that's,
then my budget person can take from where,
okay.
if it isn't those other two, then it's an issue.
Oh, okay.
So-
All right, that's fine.
Just split
But
it in
then,
two.
yeah,
Do. And like I said, if you need to go before March, if you need to go and, just say we finalize, oh, this is what we're gonna do for things, the June event.
yeah.
we can-
Because we still, at the year end, we have the awards ceremony. How much do we usually spend on that?
Depends on the buy, because
Oh.
you guys buy a lot of stuff, you don't buy anything, yeah.
What
did we spend approximately
last
last year?
year?
Last year we bought a pen for the
Yeah.
teachers and the
It's like $20,000.
Okay, that's not that much.
I mean, the only thing I would love if possible is, if either of these things can also be connected in some way, shape or form to the New York City Reads initiative, where
Yeah.
we're promoting not only an opportunity if it's the zoo,
Yeah.
but in collaboration with us also at the district level, where we're promoting reading similar type, maybe
Mhm.
scenario where we're organizing to give
Yeah.
books to kids as part of it. So in some way, shape or form, if we can link those, that would be great.
I think we also talked about doing a mind up event, right? A wellness, mental wellness event also.
What
in
would
the
that
spring.
look like for you? So then that way you can figure out like what.
Because you wanted to do something, and I think Jocelyn wanted to also. So we will have to, speak to her. I think she wanted to do an outdoor event and invite, yeah, I guess we would have to get like a permit at the park and do, activities at the park. But then that sounds like a very big,
I just don't know what that looks like.
yeah. So we can, what? Shane? Yeah. Yeah, I know, but then what kind of activities would we want to do? Jocelyn, are you on the call meeting?
Yes.
Hi, Jocelyn. Remember back in the fall, you have mentioned doing a Mind Up like mental wellness event. What was your idea?
My idea was somewhat of creating a space where students as well as parents are like given the time to de-stress and like have some family building time. Because though yes, like it's still stressful with like the test taking and stuff. So creating a space for them to be able to de-stress and simply grow a connection would be a very nice idea.
If you want, we can connect with Mind Up themselves.
Yeah, okay.
The company that organizes Mind Up.
Yeah.
I can ask them for some ideas too, if they,
Yeah,
around
Right.
a family type of event. They do
Yeah.
they do them all the time for our schools. In fact, many of our schools have already participated in family-based Mind Up events.
Yeah.
This one sounds like you want it to be a little bit bigger scale
I know.
than just in a school, but I can touch base with them and see what they would be able to come up with.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't that be combined with, I don't know what the activity for the two was, but it could that be something, but you know, I think so.
Another thing.
It's just kind of so digital too.
Yeah. Queen's Botanical, okay.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's a nice thing to do with your
Yeah,
family too.
That's true. Okay. All right.
Do you have a contact? I don't have a contact.
Queen's,
I'm sure we can find out.
yeah, I think cause
We work with them many times in the
there's
past.
school
Yeah.
trips. There's a lot of school trips to Queen's Botanical Garden. Okay.
Yeah, we can get you one, Carly. Just touch base with me tomorrow. We'll figure out who is our best person to communicate with.
Okay. So, can we move on? So anyone else have any suggestions? If we do have leftover money, let's just say we did all our event and we still have leftover money, right? Can we make we can't make donations?
You have to buy something for him. No
Oh.
cash, no gift card.
Oh.
Remember last year?
Okay,
Pen.
but then I know like Jocelyn and at, Flushing High School, right? They are modernizing their library, right? And, they got a grant from the borough president. They got $1 million, but that's not gonna be enough. And Jocelyn had, asked for ideas to, fundraise and get donations, additional grants.
I can give some insight on that actually, because our school ran into that for the projector in the school. We weren't getting funds, we don't get the funds enough each year. We did the fun run this year at
Fun
193.
run.
And they asked for business donations as well as family donations, and they made incentives throughout the year
Okay.
for them leading up to it. And then the kids went in the gym because we couldn't do it outside because of weather. And they did laps around the gym, they did an obstacle course, and it ended up being a really nice event.
Okay,
So that's something they could consider doing.
all right.
Um,
So I
'cause it was,
will-
I know we raised like $30,000 that way.
Wow. So Jocelyn, did you hear that? They raised $30,000. So I think she needs to speak with you.
Yeah.
Cause she asked me and, yeah, and I didn't have any more ideas for her. All right. So new business,
Wait,
Uh,
no, go.
oh, we have to vote, okay. So we have to take a vote to,
4512 into each of those line items. basically. Right?
okay. Can you just restate what we're voting on?
So you're voting on putting $4,512 in meeting expenses and $4,512 in the supply line. For
Okay.
a total of $9,024.
Okay,
Right, Joseph? You say yes.
Joseph, say yes.
Tired.
Yes.
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you, Matt.
all right,
So, when you,
yes,
Karoon, Kuchi,
Stop.
he went home.
oh, I didn't know.
No, you didn't.
I know, I'm kidding.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Joseph Chow,
Yes.
Sun Young Lee,
Yes.
Alvin Hung,
Yes.
Eden Rubenstein,
Yes.
Robert Lazar,
Yes.
Catherine St. Pierre, and or Santora.
Yes.
John Stewart,
Yes.
Jocelyn, do you agree?
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
Karam will say yes.
well, we have enough votes. Okay, great. So now come to new business. I think, in the beginning of the year, each member were, given, I think, 4 to 5 schools to connect with. And some of us have made visits and connected with the schools that we've been assigned to. As we have, I think some of the members haven't made any connections or were unable to make connections with their assigned school. And since then, we've had 2 new members. And I think, Eden had made a suggestion to divide up the remaining schools with the
So-
2 new members.
So what I was looking, I actually tallied out. It's early for me to list. I tallied kind of who has how many schools. And I have 6, and then there's 3 other members right now that have 5 on their plate. So if we split up between those extra schools, I think we'd be in a good space to like then divvy out to the 2 other members.
You wanna do that? What schools, I don't have those.
Yeah.
So 201 I took at the end because we didn't have somebody to fill it.
So 201.
And then you took an extra one also. Do you remember which one it was?
I believe it was the last.
200.
200, didn't we visit 200
Yeah.
already?
Yes, but I took it, but I visited.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So that's.
and then I have not been to 499 yet, but it is on the list. I personally have 6, so if I need to, then that would be helpful.
Okay.
Karam has 5, and I know he hasn't been able to
Yeah.
do visits yet. So
Jerome?
Yeah.
Have you been able to connect with any of your assigned schools?
Yeah, I spoke with 2 of them, the principals, and I have to, reschedule it. I'm hoping to get it done by January or February.
Okay, do you remember which, either,
so he has the pre-K centers,
okay,
PS 184.
184?
He has 214,
Mm-hmm.
193, and junior high school 184.
184. Do you want us to take 1 or 2 schools off your back?
That would be nice.
I mean,
The 2 I.
oh, aren't you
I
at one,
scheduled
oh,
tomorrow,
Yeah, she's 193 with
193.
Because I already
John, if
connected
anything.
with 2 principals, I want to make sure that.
So which 2 schools did you connect with already?
Uh. To be honest with you, I don't remember, so I want.
Joe, you have
to
5 also.
Ooh, my, well, and 5, yeah, let's see that.
I want to pick one to like give up. You have 107, 120, 244, 24, and 29.
120, 29, 24, what, I have the other, 244. Say that all.
244, 120, 107, 29, and 24.
Which one do you want to get rid of?
I guess. 29.
29? Okay, 29. And then Jerome will get back.
That just should be up.
201, 200, 499, and 29 are on the table.
Yeah. And Jerome has to let us know which,
Okay.
do you know which school that you definitely did not connect with?
I want to visit, I want to be sure the same.
When you go. Okay. All right, because 193, Catherine could take.
No, that's my school.
Oh, that's
She
your
can't,
school. Oh.
yeah. So John would have to take that, right?
I want to keep 193.
Huh?
I want to keep 193.
You want to keep 193, okay. All right,
185 has a new principal.
195,
185.
185?
So hard to reach the principal. I
Oh.
I want to visit, but they don't.
So 185 is all.
No. I was just saying, like,
Oh, okay,
you know how we try to reach out to 185
Yeah.
principal, but
all right.
I'll connect you, Cheryl.
yeah.
So so we have these four schools, 201, 200, 499, and 29. So to start, do you each just want to take 2 and 2? And
Does anybody have a preference?
do you have any preference?
Just tell me which school you want. So I can make it.
I met Principal at 200 when we did that walk.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I'll
okay.
take 200 because
Okay.
I met her already.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't know, maybe, and maybe I'll just, and I don't, and it's, and any other number, then I'll just take, 29.
Okay,
So then, John, that leaves you with 201 and 499.
All right, sounds good.
I'll connect both. Okay.
okay.
Thank you, guys.
Any other new business?
The next one's what,
Next month
for
was
next month?
Waterloo, right?
We have to reach out to, Senator Liu's office. But I also want to do the presentation
Yeah.
from
Next
Bob.
month. Is it next month or in March? That's the, language.
So just to also throw on your radar, there is, if it's okay with you, I'd like to do the benchmarking information
Yeah, in
Um,
February?
in February, because the data should be back by that point.
Okay,
And also, every year you have to, we have to do the, fair student funding presentation. That has to happen every year. And that's usually February, March. So just putting it on your radar,
okay,
that those are things that, I would have to do with,
okay.
with the CEC.
Dr. Mike, what, so that I can put it on, like, the benchmark info, what do I title that?
State of the district is usually what I call it.
I have a question, I guess, also then. Do we have any, like, where we're at with the process of, did they post the superintendent position? Like, where we're at with that, so that we know, like, what we have to do?
I don't have any information.
They haven't sold you anything, okay. 'Cause I feel like that's gonna come into play somewhere along the way for us.
I don't know.
No, I like
I don't know.
Lewis, I like Lewis recommendations before because the state test is in April, May, right?
Mhm.
So I want to, have
You can have
Barbara
Barbara come,
come in
absolutely, yeah.
either
100%.
before the state test, right? So in March, let's do that.
So,
Yes.
you know, what that looks like, I'm connecting with Mike right now.
Okay, thank you. All right,
I think they come in March, that presentation has to me. Remember with the lens office, right?
oh, they're coming in,
I think it's March. I'll.
Okay.
For sure.
all right, so that's enough to keep us busy. All right. Anyone else have any new business that they want to discuss? And otherwise, we will move to the public speaking time. I think Lamar has, wants to greet us. Hello, hi Lamar, how are you? Welcome back, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Just want to make sure.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. Good evening. How are you? Happy New Year. Hoping all is well. And I see that there's some new members to the CEC. Welcome aboard. My name is Lamar Hughes. I am the UFT representative for District 25. And I've been in this position. This is year 5 now. So hoping to meet you all in person again. I think I'll make a visit in February. In the meantime, I wanted to go over a couple news from the UFTN that are relevant to education and relevant to our district, and a couple other odds and ends. So first off, for those who may not be aware, our union representatives have filed a lawsuit against the city and Mayor Adams for their proposed budget cuts that they are trying or attempting to do with education in our city. If you haven't heard, the mayor has proposed a $500 million cut across the city, across the 5 boroughs, across the 32 districts, for January. And the cuts will continue as per his plan throughout the course of the year, and they could go up as high as $2 billion with a B billion dollars. So the programs that have been and could be affected in the future are pre-K, 3K, summer rising, some after-school programs, as well as some computer science programs throughout the city. So this could hamper our children, your children's educational growth in certain areas, and such as in terms of how schools are such of an importance to the community. So I don't have specifics as to how this relates to 25. I'm optimistic that hopefully we'll be okay in those cuts, but we do have to be mindful as a union of how this affects the entire city. Again, I don't have any specifics to share on 25, but this is where we are now going forward. We are against these cuts vehemently, especially when you consider that the city has reported an $8 billion with a B, an $8 billion surplus. So if you have $8 billion of a surplus in revenue, there's no need to be cutting funds, particularly in education. That's our position. So we've decided to file suit to prevent those cuts, and we'll see what happens going forward in the future. In addition to being the District 25 rep, I am also the political action coordinator for the entire borough of Queens with the UFT. And if you have been paying attention politically, there's going to be a special election coming up on February 13th. That is for the congressional seat, US District 3, which covers portions of Long Island, Glen Cove, Great Neck, Manhasset, but it also covers parts of Queens. And for
Swazi?
for Swazi, yes, for Swazi seat.
Yeah.
Well, for George Santos' seat, as he got expelled, but this is the the race to fill up that seat. It also covers Whitestone. It covers, I believe, the Bay Terrace side of Bayside. So District 25 is kind of right in the heart of this, as is 26, but we're also in the heart of this election. NYSET, our state union, NYSET, has endorsed Tom Swazi.
Yeah.
So we as the city union are following suit. So we're gearing up, and we are in all hands on deck mode to essentially help and assist and support Tom in getting that seat in Congress. So starting on January 27th, which is a Saturday, we're having our first canvassing event. We're going to be in and around the Whitestone. Most likely also, I think we'll start with Whitestone, but as we go further along, we'll also be branching out into Little Neck, into Douglaston. We'll be into some of the other areas in US 3. And we're looking for volunteers. So we have our members that are part of our political action group, but every hand helps. There's no need to limit ourselves to a set number. So we'll be very active in working with Swazi and working with the Nassau Nassau contingent of educators. And if there's anyone by chance who's interested in participating in our campaign, you can send me a note and I will be more than happy to work with you and bring you on. And lastly, also on January 27th, we're having our first annual UFT District 25 Family Night. So we're going to an Islanders game at UBS Arena, and we're going to catch the Islanders playing the Florida Panthers. This is the first endeavor that we've done in our district. I'm hoping that this will be a tradition amongst us. I would offer seats, but I'll tell you now that we basically sold out. We had 160 tickets to work with, and we're down to 6.
Wow.
So if there's anybody interested in 6 tickets, by all means, I'll send you the link. But we're definitely looking forward to this event. I think this is going to be a great night. Dr. Mike, I'm blowing up your spot. He's coming.
Yes, I will. Yeah, the Dantona family will be there cheering on the Islanders. Let's go.
So here's the
Sorry,
thing.
any Ranger fans. No offense to any Ranger fans.
2 things. I know nothing about hockey, so I have to sit next to someone who's gonna. I know what icing is. I know what that is. That's about it. And I tried this year to get the Islanders to give us the Rangers and Islanders game, but they said that game it's over at MetLife Stadium this year. So we're going to try for that next year. I think we've garnered enough tickets and enough interest that we have hopefully enough of a following that we can get that ticket for next year. We can get a Rangers Islanders thing going. So let's see how that works. And that's my report. So if anyone has any follow-up questions, my email is lhughes, HUGHES, lhughes@uft.org. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Lamar.
Lamar.
Okay. Are there anyone else on the chat? And let me see if we have anyone here on the list.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, and then we'll let you.
I always want to speak, so just have that in your mind. And I always have a speaker sheet because I used to have issues with school districts, but they would hide the sheet for me or take the sheet up early. I sat through this meeting. I have to kind of run and get my son. He's actually doing his orientation for work at the pool, at the Flushing Pool. So I'm so excited. He did the work learn grow program at his high school. But I got a little frustrated. I'm going to be starting, and this is my first district, my CEC training tour. My name is Venus Ketchum. I'm a community education activist and a philanthropist, meaning I do this for free. I'm not promoting anything. I do this because this is my passion since I was 23 years old, and now I just turned 44 on December 23rd. So
happy belated birthday.
So for over 20 years, I've had a commitment to transforming the Department of Education, and it has shifted to empowering parents. So I got, I'm here all the time, and I was always laughing, but I have some specific points that I was going to bring up that you kind of hit on. Again, this is my CEC training tour, and this is I created it. And this is series 1, and I was going to speak about council member reports and making sure that every school district has council member reports, and that those they must be robust, right? You did a beautiful introduction, so you kind of hit that in the beginning, but no one mentioned the schools that they're liaisons for, which I heard you discussing afterwards. But I got a little frustrated sitting here today, so I'm like a little shaken up. Public education is not free. And the DOE really utilizes free parent labor. But we must, as a district, as parent leaders, always prioritize the public. I've been sitting here for almost 2 hours, and if I was a new parent, I would have left the chat. I would have had to go home to my kids. And I not complained, but I elevated this issue with District 30, all across the school. We have to have a time for public speaking in the beginning of your meeting. You have to make sure that you're engaging with parents in the chat. It's been 2 hours and I've just heard you kind of discuss, which is really business. And nobody acknowledged that I'm here. And I know you acknowledge me because I'm loud and I come and I do that. But what about our immigrant families? What about our new families? What about our low-income families? And I'm almost in tears because we have to, CECs must prioritize the public and making sure that the presentations are meeting our needs. and that you're making these meetings fun and engaging, doing quizzes, doing QR code, having images, because I'm sitting here and I had to speak and I had something to say and I've waited. And my son is gonna be waiting for me soon. And I don't have a child in your district, but what if you had a parent who had to take you out of school? So that should be always in the forefront, is making sure that you put that on the front end of your meetings. So that not me, but that your family can speak. Because what I really got inspired by tonight was that you are sitting here deciding what schools are priority, but those families are not here. And then there's schools that you might not have liaison with yet that have an issue that are never gonna get heard. Right? Because the reality is we take these positions because we're already empowered and we're really advocating for the schools that we know. But there might be little schools. When I heard 201, which is one of the lowest performing schools in your district and one of the most predominantly Black schools in your district, it's like, oh, who wants 201? It broke my heart. Right? Because we really have to understand, in order to shift this district and to get you out to number 1 or number 3, you're gonna have to look at your lowest performing and your most underserved. And I'm really hearing him advocating for his brand new school, and I love him. And that's what you're supposed to do. But you as a council have to make sure you're empowering the everyday parent to be here and raising their voice. And I'm not giving you, I'm doing that because I really, not just you, I was in District 24 already, and you know I go to every district in Queens and 23 in Brooklyn. But there's been a shift where it's all political and it's about who's getting elected to the CEC. And no one's talking about the school who doesn't even have clean water. Or the kids who are failing, like, and not you amongst yourselves, but like, where are those parents? Where's the audience? So COVID has shifted, and we have to make sure we get back to touching the real families and asking questions in the chat. And hey, just type in, what books your kids are reading today. Like making sure that you're engaging with the public. Because I always get very offended, like I sat here for 2 hours. If I was a regular parent, and I'm not regular, right? This is my life's work. So I know more than you could ever know in all of your years of education. But I would be bored to tears. Or if I have to feed my son is waiting for me, and I'm just here to share. So please, every CEC, especially in Queens, because Queens is where it's at. Queens is the bougie borough. I always say that. We're the top 10 of the entire city. We have to start prioritizing parents and families and stop saying it, because it's kind of like a little privilege. You're speaking on their behalf, but we're not listening to them. Are they in the chat? Do they have anything to say? We have to train them to speak up. When I'm at meetings and I'm in public, I'll say, hey, what's your name? Don't be shy, speak after me. Why is my name the only one on the list? I don't even have a kid in this district. We need to, in the beginning of your meeting, hi, what's your name? While we're live, hi, who are you? Where are you representing? And really make it fun and make it so that we can make a difference, because New York City is a city 60% of failing. And if we keep these, and it's not you, it's not personal to you, nobody take offense, I'm not targeting you, I'm gonna do this everywhere I go. Because this is an issue in every district, where we do all this work and stuff, and the schools that are really struggling are gonna continue to struggle. If we don't empower those families on how to speak up and elevating their voice and asking what their concerns are, right? There's kids that don't have books, that can't read, that they don't have an English teacher, that they don't have a reading coach, that they don't have hot lunches. I work in a school where we don't have hot breakfast, right? And that's not an issue. I work in a community neighborhood, but families don't realize some schools don't have hot lunch or hot breakfast. And they don't know how to speak, they don't know how to. We want to give them the platform first before we discuss business. And I'm sorry I got so emotional, but I've been sitting here for 2 hours. I'm like, when is the public speaking comment going to come? And you'll hear somebody in District 30 say, oh, we have it in the beginning and the end. That's because I've been complaining for 10 years. Then I sat in meetings for 2 hours. What if I was an immigrant? What if I was a migrant family? And I need some food or clothes for my kids, and I have to wait until 9 o'clock to even get to speak. Not just you. I don't want you to take it personal. It's not personal at all. Every district will tell you she's crazy wherever she goes. That's why they hide that sheet from me. But this is public education. And also, if we really think about it, they have y'all working like y'all make $100,000 a year, sitting here figuring it out. People get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're home right now. The whole office is empty. Yet they have free parent volunteers figuring this out, and we're not even meeting the needs. 60 to 70% of kids are failing in this city. So please join me in shifting our mindset about what CEC is about. Prioritize the public, make it engaging, speak out, encourage them, say your name, what you need, what school is your child attend, how are they doing, how are the special education, how are the special education services manifesting? Right, we're talking about this stuff when the kids are suffering, including my own son. And I'm at this level of, I know everybody, Dr. Abby, but if I'm struggling, imagine a parent, a low-income parent. So please, not just you, I'm gonna say this, I said it in 24, I'm gonna say it in 29, I'm gonna say it in 26, because they're having their town hall next Monday. I encourage you to come to see how 26 does things. And I say to them, it's redlining. It's a divide. District 26, the highest performing school district in the city, is watering District 29, the lowest performing school district in Keene. How is that possible? Because we're not prioritizing the public, we're not being honest with them, we're not touching the needs of our most struggling schools. I want to know, what are the top 10 federal schools in the district, and what are y'all going to do about it? And I'm not saying it with an attitude of just like, I got to go get my son, so I got a little emotion. But please, shift the focus of these meetings. Do all this stuff in the end, all the budget. Parents don't need to hear about the line items. They need to hear about, we need an MTSS, we need an RTI coach in our schools. We need to look at the data, and y'all need to be figuring out how to support those families who don't haven't found their voice yet. And I got with that today.
Are there any low performing elementary schools or middle schools in District 25?
Yeah, 201 is all of the ones where the Black people are the lowest performing. I said that before, right? 237, 201, 165. Like if you look at the numbers from top to bottom, all the ones in the closer to Queens College where the Black people are, and I have no problem saying that I'm a Black woman, right? But we can't be afraid to discuss that. When I heard her say, oh, 201, I'll take it, I'll give it. I'm like, that's one of the lowest performing schools.
I was gonna send my kids to 201.
Say that again?
I was gonna
Don't be
send my
silly.
kids
You're
to
gonna make me
201.
upset. Don't do it. But we gotta get serious about uplifting parents' voice and not just the empowered parents. I should not be speaking. I'm a child of District 25, but I'm not a parent of the District 25 student. And we have not heard one parent speak since 2020. No parents are signing up to speak in the chat or coming here. Yes, an empowered parent here or there, a lady wants to get our son a job. But as far as the needs, we're not hearing the needs. And I need to hear y'all discussing the needs. So when you introduce yourself, please say what school you're a liaison for. There should be no reason why you haven't been in contact with schools, not just you, every one of you. I've spoken to 30 schools since September to now. It's determination, it's commitment. If you can't attend the SOP, you should have reached out. You should have an email once a week with the school you're a liaison for. You don't have to have full conversation. And I'm not judging anybody here, but it's dire. How many schools we went from 1.3 million to 1.1 million to 900,000, and we're dropping. And we have to do something about it. And it starts with not us doing something about it as people, but going out into those streets and getting them in here. Like I said, the parents of 499, there should be 100 of them since they were so educated about what's going on with the lights and this and that and the other. Where are they? And not just them, every school.
No,
I want to empower parents of 165 to be here, but whatever they need. Every school is going to make free things. The DOE is making us work for free. Get what we want and get what our kids need. Please.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you, Peter.
I'm not usually like this, but
Okay, so,
I'm a little bit.
hi. So, are you guys together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, thank you very much for.
Huh? I know, but then
Okay.
he's gonna have to wait.
Wait.
Lamar's gonna have to wait.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and thank you very much for everybody. My name is Wendy Lee. I'm a judge in the city of New York, and I was in Queens Civil Court for 3 years. And before that, I was in Brooklyn Criminal Court. And this year and last year, 2024, 23 and this year, 2024, I'm in the Manhattan Civil Court. So I want to learn our community and what our community needs, because the civil court is people's court. And I've been a judge for 5 years, and we decide people's day-to-day life, and they come to the court for our help. And it's important to have a fair and just judge, a jurist,
to help our community to resolve the issue fairly and equally. And this year in 2024, I'm running for the Queen's Surrogate Court judge. And I don't know whether anybody know about surrogate court or not. I know there's one hand raised up. I do. So for surrogate court, handles everything about the assets and inheritance and adoption for the underage children. So if you don't have a will, all your assets, everybody increase. If you don't have a will, your assets, your estate will go to the surrogate court for probate. If you don't have a will, no matter how much assets you have, go to the surrogate court and then goes to the probate process. If you do have a will, however, if your assets are $50,000 or more, it will go to the surrogate court for the process for probate. And if you have a real estate, everybody has a home somehow, right? And if you have a home, apartment, house, real estate, regardless the value, it will go to the surrogate court for the process for probate before your asset, before your property can be sold, can be transferred, before your title can be processed. So involves everybody. And I want my campaign to be the educational process so that our community could be aware of this process and start to plan your future ahead of time to make sure your assets, your estate will be protected and will be distributed according to your own will. So when I am elected in 2024, the primary for the Democrat is June 25. When I am elected, I will be the first female, the first minority, the first Asian American surrogate court judge in the entire county of Queens. And I will be the first Asian American surrogate court judge in the entire city of New York. And then the first female Asian American surrogate court judge in the entire state of New York. So let's make the history together. And thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or let us know. My website is voteforwendylee.com. Vote, F-O-R, wendylee.com. We have the contact where you can contact us through the website, VOTE, vote, F-O-R, for Wendy, W-E-N-D-Y, last name L-I.com, voteforwendylee.com. So we want to make sure our community is educated about the process. And we need to have a transparent court system, especially in the surrogate court, because it's a difficult time. We want the litigants or participants in the process to feel they're cared for and they're treated equally and fairly. And then we need to speed up the process because we cannot wait for the property, wait there for 3 years before everything could be decided, or could wait for 3 years in order for the property to be transferred. So we need to streamline the process and we need to enhance the access to the court. We need to make sure we have lots of language interpreter available to help people to go through the difficult time. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there anyone you want to? You want to say something? Yeah, sure.
Hi everyone, Steven Zhang. I'm field like operations campaign manager for India. I'm currently a junior at Columbia studying poli-sci, And yeah, I sat through the council and the meeting, and thank you so much. It's a fascinating meeting for me. It's at the sheer scale, like the comprehensive and the thorough consideration of every aspect. Basically, public education in the entire district. It's up to you guys. It's just amazing, and thank you for taking.
No, it's not up to us.
So yeah. Well, I mean, you guys all are here. So yes, I'm here to, advocate for Lindy Lee. And I think throughout the meeting, I did hear some commonalities I shared between this council and Wendy's vision. As she explained, surrogate's court, it's a court for, well, and all of that. But what's more important is that I see the word future in it. I see that your work here is to provide the guardrails for the next generations or a community of the nation. We think about it, but most importantly, CEC 25. And I see that in Wendy's work. I see that like if when she's elected, she would be the guardrail. She would be the guideline for the future, because the court is about the living. It's about protecting the will, protecting the rights, protecting people who live in this county. And I really, really, really hope that you can, join us. I actually entreat you to join us to form a coalition, in a sense, to wish for the betterment of police county in general. And again, I cannot stress enough that I really appreciate all your work here. It's as large scale as getting talented, like the extending deadline to understanding the difference between digital and in-person test taking, the cognitive differences and pipelines. Who knows, like bathrooms were like something that needs so much dedication and focus. Exactly. And the seats with wires exposed and with tapes. And I'm a product of public education, not in this country. I'm actually from mainland China. But then when I first came to the States, I went to Pearl Manhattan Community College, where honestly, on record, I'm going to say is the school that gives me the most support, better than Columbia. And I solemnly stand by my statement, because that I see that through these programs, CUNY has like CUNY ASAP, and I see that for K-12 education, you guys have all kinds of different activities you just talked about, including like parents' involvement in children's education. And I see the level of care, the level of detail that you put in the future of the country, and quite frankly, my generation and the generation upcoming. And I see that when Wendy's elected, she's going to be the person that sets the precedent for the county and maybe the state of New York, that being the first of so many titles, but more importantly, her credentials, being educated in Harvard and Oxford, her partner record, like being one of the largest law firms in New York, and 5 years of civil court service. That's why, I literally have been following her since like October, and we've been working relentlessly for the past 20 days. It's because this passion, it's because that the love of our future generations, because the care that we extend to our communities. So again, I entreat you to join us to advocate for Wendy and help in any way possible, because I see that this is something we can accomplish together. Thank you for your time. I really hope that you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay. I think Lamar said he's not
said don't
going
worry
to, okay, all right. So,
Motion to adjourn.
okay, Eden, motion to adjourn, anyone second? Okay, Catherine and Shirley second. We'll take Can we take a 2-minute break and then come back? Okay, the business meeting is in order. Yeah, roll, present.
Harun Rashid,
Present.
Frank Chow,
Yes, present.
Joseph Chow,
Present.
Sonia Lee, present. Alvin Hung,
Present.
Rita Rubenstein.
What was that?
Just say present.
Yeah, I'm here.
What I said, I said it wrong.
It said read it.
What did she say?
Robert Lazora.
Present.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna pick a name. Catherine St. Pierre.
Good, that's good, yeah, and I'm here.
John Stewart.
Present.
Jocelyn Left.
Okay,
Okay, that's it.
all right.
The R was in the beginning.
Are there any new business?
No.
No, I got nothing.
Take it really good.
The key is really good, okay, all right. No,
We being recorded.
huh?
We being recorded.
Yeah, but then it's just the members.
Yeah, it's just us.
Yeah, just us right now. Anything?
Brought up any issues. Really an argument for you, for the chance.
So, I mean, there are some of the things there too. She, I appreciate the context that she brings in terms of making sure that families are, in fact, at the center of the work. That is in general what it is that we are here to do, right? Is making sure that everyone's connected. Some of the context around our schools, the work that they are doing, you wouldn't necessarily know just based on, the feedback that's provided. The schools that she mentioned are not necessarily what you would identify as, the lowest of performing schools. 499 happens to be the top performing school in District 25. 165 is very high performing. In terms of schools that do struggle, 201 is a school that we are always working on and with, but not for a lack of, all hands on deck and, really pushing to make sure our kids are successful. So always appreciate her commentary though, around making sure that we do have families at present and to support the work that needs to be done in our schools. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we might want to, like, maybe just to, she does diligently comes, every meeting. So maybe we may, give her some opportunity to speak with her, or maybe the little. And maybe this is something we can discuss. We also need to use the 2-minute rule.
That's what I was.
I mean, yeah, I mean.
I can be mean, I can be the mean person, my middle name is mean.
I mean, but I find you the sweetest guy, when
I
you
think we
start
need-
talking, you don't stop.
So do you think that we should actually move a public speaking to the front of the agenda?
Front, I would say, like, I don't know, I mean, if this is a formal complaint, not formal complaint, I mean, request or something. And since, I appreciate she comes here every day, like every diligently, and she goes everywhere, so maybe just out of respect, we should.
Well,
give her-
I think the idea of having public speaking is that after Dr. Daytona, after the president, after our presentations, if people have questions,
Yeah,
you can move back to the front, what are they gonna say?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so,
what I'm
yeah,
wondering.
then
Do
Joe,
we move it
you
to the
brought a
front?
very good point, so maybe we should tell her that the
Why should
reason.
I be telling her? You tell her.
I think,
I mean, if,
Actually,
on that.
I think,
we have like 3 mutual friends.
I think one of the points that she was trying to make was, when you look at the audience, it's certainly smaller today. Smaller also online. It's just also about messaging and making sure that message consistently gets out to fam. That's kind of what I was really hearing her say, was making sure that the message is out there for, for others to hear and be able to advocate for themselves. So,
Yeah, I mean, just to acknowledge that we did, speak about our concern and suggestions, that would make us feel good.
I think the 2-minute thing though is definitely something we should be like, try to, if we're saying 2 minutes, we gotta keep to the 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Joe has a good point too. I mean, you should have some time limit.
No, I'll speak to her next time.
Yeah.
But sometimes she say things that are, I don't know if they can do anything. And sometimes it sounds like something's really not. she's bringing a concern.
Yeah.
All right, but I understand, but sometimes, you have to, but this is the person you're trying to take 25. Why are you blocking that out? We have no power.
I mean, this is something, Wendy, that I've been thinking, and I think, John, you came from, Quinn's, Richard Donovan's office, right? The people should know, we actually are volunteering for this place, and we literally have no power.
Yeah.
Right? We literally have no power. Because one thing she raised is why we don't know our schools, right? Let's discuss it. This is very important. Carly emailed all the principals on our behalf. I got response from 2 of them. And, like, we have full-time jobs, right? I mean, God bless who is full-time, this. But I have full-time job, right? I requested, can I have alternate times, right? They're like, okay, that day, that time. Dude, who are you talking to that day, that time? No, I politely requested, I need 2-3 time slots, so it matches your time or my time. No response after that, right? She said we should know them by heart. Of course, we should know them. We are told on the first day, this is voluntary. We have 0 power. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe you or politicians or Mr. Banks can give us some sort of things that we can influence or we can do something. The only thing I feel like we come here and we do is talk. He gives a nice lecture. We are happy, we go home. But I don't feel like I'm contributing anything to it.
Polly, yeah. Yeah, of course.
I've been through a couple of CCs. That's maybe that's my but I've been through a couple of them. I'm just an admin, so I'm doing my success. You don't have to take it for work. You guys do a lot of work. The public may not think of it as what they perceive as what they want you to do for them. Because let's be real, a lot of people see, when you came in here, what did you think? You ran as a PTA or ran as an SLT. And what do I always tell you? You're neither. You're none of any of those things. You have things there are things that you have to do. Like Dr. Ahmed said, no, you have to give these presentations. There's no ifs, ands. This is what part of what the CEC has to do. You have to do the SCA report. You have to discuss the budget. You have to discuss, these are things that, whether the public wants to hear or not, these are things that have to be discussed. When you do the time of the public speaking, up to you. From experience, people usually want to speak all the time. Beginning, end, the middle.
Yeah. They want to be on the council.
It doesn't matter. They already came with what they wanted to say anyway. But you guys do important work, because without those things, you wouldn't have the upgrade. You wouldn't have the look, we've done things where we help special people understand the special education routes. We've done things where we have had upgrades to schools. We got your budget back.
Yeah, we got our budget back.
However, it may not be how you perceive it to do. Right? In that sense, you are the voice of the district, which is why we always say, hey, you have to not just think of your school or your culture or your community, but everybody in District 25. So don't downplay yourself. You do.
Yeah.
It's part of the job that you do is to hear his reports. It's part of the job, because that's how you know, that's how you ask questions. That's part of it. His reports are
Because
given
nobody
saying,
come in here knowing
right,
what to
no,
do.
Yeah.
correct.
We're all still learning, even recurring members are still learning, right? Nobody's walking here like, know what to do.
Right, not maybe what the public, you guys, honestly, I hear what some of the thoughts and suggestions were. Okay, a homeless person is close. Where would you go for that? I would have to find direct somewhere else. That's not something particularly that on the not saying the pump one of them. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that you can do. Or you cannot be taken that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too that there's space of work that you guys have done over the years. I mean, we do have new additions that are now being added to District 25 as a result of the advocation from the CEC. You've added to your bylaws, special education being part of every single school year's work, which resulted in additional special education training that happened this year. So those things came as a result of conversations from this particular body. So there's a lot of things that you can do and still can do moving forward. It's just about you guys, making additional decisions that you feel are important for the community based on community input. Which, and listen, that's part of it. You know, part of the community input that you just received was what you just heard.
Yeah.
It's what you then kind of hear and take from that and how you organize around it moving forward that really matters. You know, I always believe feedback is what allows me to grow as an individual and as a professional, is hearing from others around how I can maybe do what I do a little bit better. And maybe perhaps some of the things that you heard are possible and make the meetings even more robust, or they're not something that you feel are appropriate at this time, and you make those adjustments as you see fit moving forward. But I always take information in like that as a means of saying, well, how can I think about this from a different perspective, to make myself improve upon my own craft. That's the way that I look at any piece of feedback that comes to me. You know, good or bad. You know, not everything is going to be roses. There's always going to be something, a couple of times where you get that thorn that you're like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that, you know? So that's the way that I look at it. And, you know, I think in large part, it was just making sure that we're trying as much as we can to get that outreach out there to larger groups of people. And honestly, that's something we do too. When we're talking about our meetings with parents and schools, you know, we want to make sure that more people are engaged and more people are attending, which is why many schools are now doing these First Friday types of events, because it's not about training. It's about coming to see my kid. I'm going to come and do that. I'm going to see my kid. And also at the same time, I'm going to learn about the training that's happening inside of the classroom. It's just a different experience. So anyway, that's my little shit.
John, what do you think of your first meeting?
Because this guy told me that we run the whole district. And this guy told me we don't do anything.
I did it. I'm sorry. So my apology again. I didn't say we don't do anything. I said we are not empowered to do anything.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So
But that's not as funny.
So the reason I
got $25,000.
You don't have to explain, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so, you know, you came from people who make decisions, could be these are the things, you know, you can start get it back to them, right?
Yeah.
So, but hey.
Well,
yeah,
we don't
happy
make
with-
decisions, we make recommendations, and you know,
Exactly.
whatever issues that, you know, we feel
Like,
that's
for
important,
example, since
we put out a
came up, right?
resolution.
We are a school liaison, right? Right. I'm not gonna name it. I have my colleagues who reached out to principals. They didn't even bother to answer. How, like, now, how do I say, right?
So those things you can certainly connect with Carly and connect with me.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, you
these
also,
are the things that, you know, like I said, hey, if you say come Friday, you know, Friday is like end of the week, most of the meeting in the morning, or Monday, beginning of the week, you have early morning meeting. Those of us who work, right? And if you say come Friday at 9 o'clock, that's the only time. I'm like, hey buddy, please, you know, with all due respect, I have a job, you know, if you can give me some other time for, or some principal doesn't even bother to respond, you know, so.
So, I mean, I like I said, that you can connect with Carly in large part. Our building leaders are very, very responsive. And when they are sharing dates, you just keep in mind that they're running schools. They have packed schedules as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not for a lack of,
I like
of
his
trying.
answers. He has always good answers.
So it's
I have a job too.
So it's not as though there is this, what I will make sure is that there is a response. There should
Got
never be, not be a response.
Yeah.
But if it's a matter of organizing dates because it doesn't work with yours, they'll definitely work to improve upon that. But it's not as though they just have a blanket open
No.
schedule that they can say, okay, just come
Yeah.
anytime you want. It
Right.
doesn't work that way either. So, but you know, touch base with Carly, anyone who you're not feeling is connected. In fact, Shirley mentioned it to me today. She was just added on an email as we were sitting here to that principal. And I guarantee you that they will be contacted with very soon. So, you know, those types of things we can handle right away. It's just about making that connection. If in fact, because our principals are responsive. It just very well may be that in the line of emails that they received, that's one that they didn't connect with for whatever reason.
Okay. All right. Are there anything, so January 9th at noon, we have a, meeting with, Kay from, Faith. Yeah, it's a Zoom. Yeah, it's just a quick checkup,
See if we have anything. we
Yeah.
need, things like that.
So if you're, John, if you're available, January 9th at noon,
You have to confirm time? Oh,
noon,
Noon.
you don't have-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a set time.
yeah.
And Carly's gonna send us a calendar invite.
No, Faith will. Faith, yeah, Faith will. That's her
Okay.
thing.
There's some, I kind of want to explain a little bit on the on that. So for example, when you guys have, that like the John Lou,
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
November
That-
special meeting.
So that's kind of like a year thing, if that makes sense, without being.
Uh-huh.
It's like something that your activity is not really a CEC related thing, does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So if it's CEC related and I can put it, and I'm, fine, but if it's like something that Base is doing and I don't really have access to any of it, fine, I can make the calendar invite, but I don't necessarily know all the date sessions because I'm not included in it. That's what I'm saying, if I'm not included in the email, or I'm not included in the thing, I won't know, so I won't be able to like, so it's not like, not wanting to put it, you know?
Mhm.
So, but.
He just wants to add some extra calendar invites to you.
Right. But I'm just saying that sometimes it's not because I forgot or I don't want, I just know. So,
Mhm.
if you want it, just let me know and I'll come.
Okay. So it's 9:31 PM. Anyone?
To adjourn.
Okay, Eden have been making a lot of motions tonight and Shirley's second.
Shirley's my second.